and more of the oil coming there. So then you that will need looking at. But just looking at that, that's not too bad.
Okay.
That's not too bad. So the reason why I took that out, normally you see oil, in there. So that's not bad. Now, if you look at this black top, where it meets the cylinder head, there is a gasket there. I can tell there is a bit of a leak round. So when you get the timing chain done, tell them to change the rocker cover gasket. I'll text that to you.
Okay, thank you.
A rocker cover gasket. Because what will happen, the more it leaks, it will leak onto your engine, and you smell oil all the time. You because it's burning on the
because the car's been overheating, even though there's enough oil and there's enough water. My dad said maybe it would be the fan. But
it could be the fan. Now to test the fan, you leave it running for. Now, I mean, I can do some of the tests now to see if the fan is a problem. But you may also want to check this. This is the water pump.
Okay.
That's the water pump. Now, get all that changed. What's the mileage on the car?
100,000.
100,000. Yeah. Just for your information, cars that are a car is given economic life up to 100,000.
Okay.
After that, it's a bonus, but anything can happen. So that's why your chain is rattling that much. You can still change it and then drive it to 150, 170,000 miles. But know that you don't want to be spending too much towards the end of the life of the car.
Sure.
Yeah. So you just do the bare minimum. But I would say do you have heating inside the car when you're driving?
Yeah. I think
you do have heating.
Yeah, there's no aircon.
No. Oh, all right. So it overheats as you drive it.
Yeah. Yeah. So then it will go up to like 90, and then just the last time it went up to 90, it was very bad because it didn't cool down properly.
All right. Okay. Let me just check. 90 is good temperature.
It's okay.
That's operating temperature for the car.
Right.
If it goes to 100 into the red, then but 90 is about the optimal operating temperature of the car. So that's fine.
Okay.
So there's nothing to worry about there. I was going to suggest the water pump to be changed, but looking at the mileage, it's unless when they take it out, they see signs that of excessive wear, then change it. But if not, just change the chain.
And you just mentioned the oil leak down there. Down there.
Right. That would be you can see probably what I was talking about. If you could look and there, so it's leaking. There's a gasket between that black top and the cylinder head there. So that gasket in between needs to be changed.
Okay.
Now, also, if you see it's leaking, that's a gasket all the way down. That will be changed when you change your timing. Your timing change.
Okay.
So that will sort out that leak.
That's good.
Yeah. That will sort out that leak.
Yeah. Because I was just like, Dad, it's leaking. I can see it's leaking. It's a problem.
And shall I say, all cars, even brand new ones, whip. They said some. Yeah. No, it's not oozing. It's just a slight whip. So that that's fine. Don't panic when you. But if you see, every morning a big patch on your drive, then it needs to be looked at.
Okay. Yeah.
But that I would drive it to the ground like that. If it wasn't for the timing chain, I would say drive it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I would say continue to drive it. Yeah. Yeah, they were changed recently. Now, also be careful with I'm talking from experience with mechanics. When you give them to do a job, they will do the job like Mr. Vauxhall says must be done. And for a timing chain, you'll end up paying 500, 600, 700 pounds. No, the timing chain kit is only about 87 pounds. I change this daily. It's about 87 pounds, and labor maybe 150 or so. The timing chain kit comes with all except the one for the top here. It comes with everything in there. So I'm giving you tips. I know what I'm talking about. You will pay, especially when you go as a woman.
Hello.
Always
that. Yes.
Yeah, unless it's an emergency. Always take a man with you. Yeah. I don't care whether it's VW dealer. I will give you a story what happened. I had a customer who was unhappy with my wife, right? So they took their car to VW for a service, and they paid £429 for the service. No, I mean that's the dealer price. Okay. And then less than a month later, he phoned and I said, "No, come over." And he came over, and he says, "It has not changed. The running has not changed. Me taking the car to them and coming, no change." So all I did was to pull this out.
Check the oil.
When the oil has been changed, you should not be able to see the oil. You should struggle to see it's so clean, you can't see it. So I did that, and I went to, now it's a metal oil filter on his VW. And I said, I was the last to change that oil filter. So the car was driven maybe to the car park, and she picked it from the car park. It never went into the garage. So what we did, I just said, "Look, let's go together." So we went. Whether it was a genuine mistake or not, I don't know. But there should be a job card. The work had not been done. So they did the work and gave another service free.
Amen.
So that worked well. But even dealers, you have to be careful. The job, I will charge you 150, you pay 500, right? Because it's the dealer. There are certain jobs which I will not touch. I'll tell them, go to the dealer. But most jobs we are trained to do. So I think now we can check. Very good tire.
I just got them done. I got 3 tires done.
Did them all round, didn't you?
Yeah. I wanted to make
sure. How much did you pay?
£75. £25 each. Used. I didn't buy brand new.
Wow. Yeah. That's good price. That's good price. Yeah. That's good price. The tires are also very, very important too. Now, let me tell you one thing as well. If you are involved, particularly in a fatal accident, God forbid, someone dies, they take your car away and they will check it. So try and keep your car as good as you can. Because if it's too bad, they can actually take that tire off and check it section by section. Just to find fault, you know. So things like tires and suspension, make sure they are right all the time. It's very important. So I can put this back.
Thank you. And what about just in general? I know this might be a more serious thing, thing you'd have to look at properly. But when the car is making a whiny kind of sound, we didn't know if it's like
from the engine or from when you're driving.
Yeah, when you're driving.
Okay, I'll drive it after. I just want.
Sure, that's fine.
Yeah, show you something here because I don't want. I want us to do something here.
Sure.
Now I don't know if there's a volunteer who wants to change brakes.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you what happened.
I'll hold it over you. Oh. I'll hold it over you.
I started driving car, I think last week, and I could hear grinding at the back, and I thought, yes, this is the car to take. So that side was really bad. So I had to change the brake pads that side. So this side needs to be changed. This is a very simple car to change brakes. There are areas I know you will struggle. I will do, but I want you to have the feel of now to change the brakes, the rear brakes, you will pay labor about £40. Now, if you do them often, 2-3 times, you save yourself £40. But let me say, these are things that even when you know how to do it, get somebody to check what you've done. We are talking brakes. We are talking brakes. So these are not DIY things generally. They are not. But if you are confident enough to start changing, like I said, my son, if it's a service and brakes, that's not a job for me. I just give it to him. Yeah, I'm confident. I always check every bolt is undone and put back. I always check, and I just do it for the sake. He's not competent now. Yeah. So the first thing on cars, we have had, every one of us has had mechanics dying under or getting injured working on a car. So if I show you my hands, you'll feel sorry for me. But this happened when I was still growing. These are my hands. I very rarely do I hurt myself on cars because I've learned my lessons. So first thing is safety. If it's a problem, brother, don't do it. There are jobs that come to me that I know, they are not good for me. I pass them on. I pass them on. You won't start. First thing is safety. Now, the jets that they supply cars with, they are not good. Jets, those are not good. Except you're working on a flat surface, solid surface like this, you can get away with it. Imagine you're on gravel. You've had a puncture to change that wheel. So safety. I recommend checks like this. They go up to 100 pounds. Something that is steady on form, right? And thing is England is all flattened. But when I go Africa, I always have a metal plate. But if I have a puncture on sand, I can put the plate and my jack on the plate. Because if you're on sand, you try to jack the car, it's the jack that's going in the sand. So first, now every car has a designated jacking point. The structure there is fortified. If you just put it anywhere, as you lift your jack, that seal will crumple in. Also with the older cars. The newer cars, you may get away with it, but every time I go under, I see loads, seals under there gone, and there are times when you will have an MOT failure because the metal is so weakened and they want you to cut it out and welding is very difficult. So normally the jack point, just by feeling I know, because I've done it so many times, there is a lip here. And there is a place that, that's what I was saying. I only jack that side. You see, this is what begins to happen. And metal is exposed. When it's exposed, that's where rust begins to build up. So when I see that, I look for another 45 point. Unfortunately, on this one, there is none. So I will have to reuse the same area. Now with this jack, clockwise is to lock, anti-clockwise is to unlock, and then you can go. Now, see why I don't need a gym afterward.
Amen. Amen.
Right? Now you can stop there. Why you are stopping? Normally you use the wheel braces that come with the car. So you just jack it slightly and then loosen them, because if you lift it right up, when you are trying to undo, the wheel can actually be turning. Yeah. So now I have this. Amazing. Now Japanese and Korean cars generally is 21 millimeter. Your courses, the English Vauxhalls are 17, Ford are 19. So when I'm getting from the garage and then I know this is Japanese, I go with the 21. So that's the 21. And when you are buying a car, before you look at the car, ask for this. Wheel locking key. Because without this, it can cost you maybe 200 pounds. If you break down, if you have a puncture on the motorway and you call AA, without this, they can't help you. Ask for this first before you look at the car. Very, very important. And when you finish using it, before you even put anything away, put this back in its place, a safe place. So one way of finding out, I know how it goes. You just put it, let it rest there and turn it slowly. When it's, do you see what is that? If I turn it slowly, it will get to a place where it will go in and lock. There you go. So now this is not tightened like the other four. If you over tighten that and this key breaks, you are in serious trouble. So I will let you use this just to undo. Just to undo them. So you can raise your jacket now. Now notice the ones with wheels, as you jack the car up, the jack moves under the car. If it doesn't move, it can actually be dangerous. So now you see there is clearance under there. So that's enough. The mistake that people do is if this tire were flat, they will just raise it just above the ground. But when you put a fully inflated one, it won't go in. You have to raise that again. Now, it's not the best to raise when you've taken off the old, the punctured one. So always raise it, that distance is fine. So after that, the next thing is safety. You may have to raise it a bit more. That will do. So if anything happens, that car will fall onto the stand. Safety. I remember net 98. Do you remember net 98? What was his name now?
Nelson.
Nelson, yes. The final week he was doing that net 98 on the campus. There's a guy who tried to work on his car. Didn't put that. And the car fell on him, it died on the spot. And remember that very sermon, he says, we are mourning a guy they knew. Yeah. But he didn't put that. So this is one thing to keep in your car. Just buy these are like £5 axle stand. Yeah. It's always, and try and get one like this, which is flat. And there are some which will have just 3 legs like that. But if the car is heavy, they start to buckle. So you want something that is supported. This is the best one to, to just have one. Don't buy many, just one will do. Yeah, axle stand. It's just for safety. Yeah. So you can finish off to take the wheels off. Or if you just press that, and when it's out, you will know, and then you move to the next one. That's out. So take it off. You just turn it slightly just to make sure it's So you can go and work for Formula 1.
Yes, Kathleen.
So what usually happens once you've taken the bolts off, sometimes the wheel, because of the heat from braking, the wheel is difficult to take off. So sole of the foot that it comes off. It's also a little rough that the second portion. Now it's exposed. As soon as you come, this is where we make money off you. I can just say there's a lid there. Look, get me right. When it's not right, it's not right. But we make money by making you buy things that are not necessary. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a very, you see the shiny bit, this end bit. There's nothing wrong with that. So you inspect everything here. You inspect the suspension, you inspect even the corrosion, you inspect the pipes, right? I can see all is well. And even this back plate, it's nice and firm. So now the brake pads, this is a brake pad. There are two bolts, the top one and the bottom one. Once you take them off, that comes off, and then you can change your brake pads. That's what you are going to do. Okay. But what I will do for you is just to slacken these, because this is where I hit myself on my hands. I always used to, because once the spanner slips, you are hitting your hand against sharp and sharp edges like that, and you are always bleeding. So I'll do the initial thing first, and then you can do the rest. Now, usually Korean, Japanese is a 12mm spanner or socket. So we use that 12. Now, this may not have been taken off from you. So with the rust and all, sometimes it's hard to take off. So I will start. That's not bad. It's not bad. Now, I need a 17 as well. I will show you something once this is off. How to do these brakes properly. So this is just to lock the sliding pin. Right? Let me undo this one as well. That's not bad. There we go. That's what usually happens. That's your head that way. Right. I'll tell you a rule that only you will know. When you look at, you see this bolt on cars, to screw it on, it's clockwise. Right? To undo it, it's anti-clockwise. It's not so with vans. The near side can be the other way around. But with cars, it's almost always to lock clockwise, to unlock clockwise. But then you are looking at this nut here, face on like that. What if it's like that? So you will fight thinking you are unlocking clockwise and anti-clockwise. So it's the reverse. It's the reverse. Right? So that's the rule. So now, because it's on the other side, clockwise is to unlock, anti-clockwise is to lock. So you are doing it clockwise because you are doing it. Yes. So this is just to lock this pin, right? And that. So you want to make sure it goes in. That's why you do it's in, and then you can start undoing it. If it's loose enough, you can actually use your hands. Yeah, when it comes, yeah.
Take it all off.
Yeah, take it right out.
Okay. And I'm staying with
the same with
this one.
Yeah, now to do that one, you may want to just lock this one as well. There's no point in locking it. I think it's loose enough. Is it? Yeah. No, it's turning.
No,
it's turning. It's turning. Let me just lock this one. Yeah, that's a hard one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, if there's anyone who wants to do this kind of work, you make your money more in winter than in summer. In summer, people hardly use their cars. In winter, when it's raining and snowing, so where I charge £20, I charge £30 because of, and call outs are pay better than staying in the garage. That tells me these have not been changed since the car was new. Yeah. Reason being, when you brake your car, 80 to 85% is front braking.
Right.
The back is only like 15%. So you may change the front ones twice, sometimes even 3 times before you even touch these. When you've done that, just gently. I know we're going to use it again, so yeah. So you just gently do the top and bottom until that comes out. That's the brake caliper. Yeah, bottom, yeah.
Wow.
Right. So when we were training, you wouldn't let it hang like that.
Makes sense.
Yeah, because you may end up damaging. You don't know how corrosion has affected that. So if you just drop it, once that breaks, I'm not going home. I'll wait until I find a place on a Sunday. It's not on a Monday to replace that whole thing. So normally you use normally I do that, or you can use a cable tie and tie it like that out of the way to allow you space to work here. So I think I have cable ties. Let me tie it away from. Now imagine you have 20 of them doing a clinic. The moment you finish this, you can go home. That's why I don't use gloves. I'm only using gloves because of you. See, a glove does not give you the feel, the hand feel. So unless I'm working on a diesel car changing oil, I use my hands. Normally, I put barrier cream on my hands first. That is out of the way. So the next thing with that screwdriver, you want to price it out. Then we'll do a bit of explanation there. Now try not to, when you are doing the work, try not to do it this way. Because if it slips, you go and bite the floor. So normally, yeah, like you're doing 1 foot, yeah. 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 So that is come out. Right. So the next thing you do is you inspect. Now, do you see that they are flat?
Mm.
Flat means that surface is flat as well.
Mm.
But when you see, up and down like that, it's telling the condition of the disc. Because it's flat like that, that disc is good.
Oh.
So I won't say we need a disc. Yeah. So there's no need to change the disc. These are bad, but not too bad. I'll tell you why. This is the new one. I could have done maybe 3 months with this. The back ones are not usually very thick, but the front ones are thick. So now there is how does the car brake? You apply your brake. How does it slow down the car? Sorry?
Yes, squeeze together on that.
Right. That is there. That is there. When you apply your brakes, you see this piston. It's a piston that it moves and pinches that. This is rotating. Let me drop the handbrake. Right. This will be rotating. But if I pinch that, let me do it like that for illustration. If I pinch that, that doesn't move. But if I let go, if I pinch, that doesn't move. So that's how you brake. Now, remember, this is turning round and round and round. You release your brakes, right? You're going at 100 miles an hour. You release your brakes. How then do these come apart? The piston has gone back in. How do these come apart? So that the brakes are not binding. How does it come apart? How do you think? See, that centrifugal force, as it turns in a way that, how can I explain this? These want to go round. They have a tendency to want to go round with the disc as it goes round, because they are still partially attached. So that partial attachment will force them out. Now, to force them out means, let me use this one. Forcing them out means this brake pad must be able to freely move back and forth. But because of rust already there, it will not move. So if there's more rust on that side than this side, that side, the brake pad will go faster than this side. So when it's down like this, what we want to do is to clean up that, take all the dust, all the dust and the rust up. When you do critical things, when you work on critical things like brakes, you don't play with phone and on the internet. This life, someone's life is at risk. I remember early in this career, I'm home. I'm thinking, did I tighten it? Did I not? Did I tighten it? And that you will not go to sleep. You will not go to sleep. So when you deal with intimate things like this, you cannot afford to distract it. So you get a customer calling you. I've been phoning you, you're not picking up your phone. So you just gently say, listen, I was on a job that would not allow me to pick the phone. Now I've called you back. Yeah. So now that should slide. Now there are some recommendations, but you have to be trained well. Recommendation, there's the copper grease. Actually say you can put a little grease there and there because that copper grease can withstand temperatures. But I prefer not to because you don't want any grease or that compromises your braking effort. Yeah. So we need the new ones now.
So how deep have these gone then? You know that they'll tell you you've got 3 mil left, 5 mil left.
They are measuring. They are measuring. Where did I put this one? They are measuring. This is metal. This is metal. This is the friction material. All this is the friction material. So they are measuring from the base of the friction material to where the brake is. Mm-hmm. Now, if you look at this, there's like a millimeter there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they are measuring from the metal backing, looking at the braking material, which is that. Mm-hmm. So that's about a millimeter.
Okay.
So it's overdue for change, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. We shouldn't wait until it's that much. Mm-hmm. But it's a new car. So now, as a rule, what do you think this is? What do you think this is?
Is it like a safety catch that you put in and it clips on? I don't know.
You're on the right path.
So you can slide in that.
Right. This is a wear indicator. So when this brake is worn until it's there, if it's worn to where the indicator is there, if you apply your brakes, this rubs against that and produces an irritating sound.
Reaching sound, yeah.
A squeaking, irritating sound is telling you it's due for change.
That's good. Wow.
Now, the more modern cars, they don't use that anymore. Mm-hmm. They use electronics on the brake. Mm-hmm. Those are some of the brakes that I said you can't do it. Mm-hmm. You have to use a computer to push that piston out is done by the computer. You actually hear it go when you're done. You say I've finished. It goes so it's done electronically. So electronically it measures how it's gone back in. It shows the amount of wear. Then light comes on there. So I prefer this.
Definitely.
I'm not one for too much electronics because it costs you. Yeah. So this is a wear indicator. As a rule of thumb, these always go on the inside.
This goes on the inside.
No. The pad goes on the inside. Yes. This side, yes. Not this side.
Okay.
Because the piston, when you apply your brake, is the piston that goes first. So usually the inner one is worn. If you look at the wear, this is because this is the one with the wear indicator. It was so that wears faster than this one, which is just on the outside.
So the one with the wear indicator
goes on the inside. Okay. Yeah. I've seen, because there are some cars with this wear indicator. To put it in, sometimes it's a mission. I've seen mechanics just take a pliers and break it off and then. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen. So this is the part that I said, let me put this one on the outside and you will do the.
Okay.
Yeah, let me on the inside. So when you put yours on the inside, you want this lip to go inside there.
Yeah.
As far as possible. Normally, yeah, it's an angle like that. see how it is?
Yeah.
Then you just tap it in gently. It will go in. But the inside can be a bit tricky. That's why I will do the inside. Oh, this was an easy one. But it's gone in. And when it goes in, it's got to be flat with the disc. So it's flat. It's gone in all right. So this is a good job. So this one is yours now. Now, sorry, I forgot to say. You see the curve, the outer diameter is bigger. So the outer diameter, that's bigger than that. So that goes on the outside. Yes. Right. Then let me see. Right. So you can just tap it in. Just gently, it will go in. That's a good job.
More at the bottom. Okay, or more.
Let me see. Now the next thing is we cut this off now. Will this go on there?
It'll be no, it won't.
It won't.
No.
What needs to be done? Because
it can prise out somewhere. So
these pads are thicker, so this has come out too much.
Oh, so we have to
We have to push
it back.
in.
Okay.
Now there's a tool which looks like this, which we can use. But there should be another one, a flat one, because that's flat. That goes on top. I forgot to get that. So alternatives is this.
Okay.
So what you do not touch that. You just want the casing and then you just.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Sorry. Okay. Now, what do you think is happening as the piston goes in? What brings the piston out when you apply your brakes? But what is it that actually forces that out? Hydraulics. So as you push this out, you are pushing the brake fluid back to the reservoir in front. But there are seals in the master cylinder. So if you just push it in without opening the cap, come and show you something. This is very important. And it can cost the mechanic a lot of money because it's not the customer's fault. It's the mechanic's fault. Now, this is where you add your brake fluid. Now, if I keep this is sealed, rubber sealed. So with this closed like that, if I push the piston in, the brake fluid is coming this way, isn't it? But this is tight sealed. The pressure will move the seals and turn them the other way around. Once that happens, you have no brakes. So you have to change that brake master cylinder at your cost. So what you do, you just either just undo, or I prefer just taking it outright. and make sure water does not go in there. So then we can push that piston. That fluid will easily come back up. One other thing, when you see the brake fluid level down, don't always top up. It's an indication that your brakes are low, because the more the brake pads wear, they are going down, isn't it? So more fluid is coming to the piston to cover the space the space of the wear, right? So you may think you have a leak, but you don't have a leak. It's indicating that your brake pads are low, so you check them all around. So if somebody says, check my brakes, I don't check the brakes first. I come and check the level first. If the level is fine, then I can check. If it's low, already in my head, I know to check the brake pad wear. So we open this, so now you can press that back in now. It doesn't. The other way is maybe better for you. Now you need it to the mouth to open. So one to hold there and one to hold it, just as an anchor there. So close it now. Is it hard?
Yeah.
No, it's not sitting well when it's. Yeah.
Okay.
So it won't be too hard. Yeah, go. See it going in. You need a lot of.
I don't have a strong desire.
So there are jobs for men, and
That's right. I totally agree.
there you go.
Hey.
So now it will just drop in.
Right.
It will just. No, we should be doing it.
Okay.
It will just drop in now.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
So the next thing would be putting that. But there's something else, and I need to show you on this particular car. Let me just put that here. Now, these, if you notice, they slide in and out. Slide. They are called sliders, actually, brake sliders. So always check if they are not sliding. Your brakes will bind when you put new brake pads. So always check. So these are moving. So now you can carry on, finish your job now. And start, and there's one. So just make sure they align. Yeah. So back in there, where did I put the other one? Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Actually, I'm turning it around.
No, it's actually the opposite. Now make sure that they line up well, because you should be able to turn it by hand. There you go. It's not going in.
Yeah.
So
I'm turning it the wrong way.
what you do is you just shake it while you press that in. When it's aligned. Easy. Yeah, that's it. So now it's you carry on with the anti-clock. That's not good. So these are the easier brakes that once you do enough of them and you're confident, you can change by yourself. But the back ones of Vans and even your Corsa, the back ones, Mariva, well, it's the same, yeah. They are shoes at the back. Don't even think of doing them. Bring them to me. Now we need to lock this also.
And is that just for the rear, or is the front normally okay, but the rear might have some different?
Well,
it?
Okay, with this particular car, your handbrake is inside there. The handbrake shoes are inside there. This is just for the foot brake, what she's doing. But most cars is a combination of the two on the caliper. So those are slightly more difficult, to do. The front ones are the easiest. You can do them. Yeah, front ones are the back ones usually are a challenge. Yeah, and when you are changing the back, you will be charged more than the front. I can do the front ones, both of them, in 20 minutes. Yeah, but the back ones, it always asks for more.
That one feels passing.
All right, let me just check here. Just to lock that. Now, to do this kind of work, your health has to be very good. Most of my work is on the roadside, under all weather conditions. Yeah, under all weather conditions. If you do this from young, you will make a lot of money. But you have to have very good health. Very good health. That's where the money is. No one wants to come and do your or do a 2-hour job on the roadside on the snow. Yeah. And I think my body is acclimatized to this country. When I'm working, I don't feel cold. But the moment I finish and I go in the car, I am frozen everywhere. But while I'm working, I'm fine. And it's always good to cover all the extremities. That's where you start getting disease, arthritis, and everything. I may be warm there, but my fingers, my toes, that's where the problem is. So we dress up in multiple hands and the feet.
And your head.
And the head as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Job is done. Now, if you put the wheel and say, my money, you can go. Within 10 meters, it's an accident. There's no brakes right now on this car. Do you know why?
You haven't put that back.
No, let me put the caps back, but there is no brakes on this car. There is no brakes on this car. Do you know why?
The tire, does it help?
No. What did we do to the piston? We push the piston far. So if you go and step on the brakes, they'll go right to the floor because the fluid has to come. The piston has to be pushed back. Fluid has to come. So a lot of accidents have happened straight after this kind of job because you take off at speed, slam the brakes, go straight to the floor. So even if it's a reputable thing, just pump your brakes, just make it a habit. After the brakes are changed, just pump your brakes, just make sure they're firm and then start off. Right now, if you step on the brakes, right to the floor, you have no brakes.
Wow.
Very, very important. So these lessons, they may look like they are very basic, but they are necessary.
Yes.
They are necessary. Right. When it's like this, all is well. I don't see any other problem. The other things you look out for is a break, breakages in these springs. If there's a breakage, you stop the work, phone the customer. And I can't carry on with this job. It's suspension. Suspension. You don't mess with suspension. Yeah. So all is well. This is the difficult bit, particularly when it's cold. Your fingers are numb with it, and the wheel is not lining up. Now, I don't know whether you have energy, but you need to. No, you need to. What's her name? From Stafford. What's the name again? I have to remember.
The health place.
Yes. Lucy. No, not Lucy. What's the other one? Not Lucy. No. Let's look at the phone.
Janice.
No. Okay. She phoned me and says I have a puncture, and I can't find the jack. I can't find it. So I said, go to the boot, take the wheel out. The jacks will be under there. So she did that. She called for help. People that were passing by, no one helped her. And we're talking of last week. So I said, Stafford is too far. My sister, I will give you instructions. Let's go with instructions. You will have to take on the phone. So I started telling her where to jack up. Now this is a woman, she did it and finished by herself.
Amen.
So that's why I'm saying you have to do it, because you may be faced with that situation. Let me see my wife. What's her name now? It's not Lucy. I know Lucy. What's her name? How can I forget? When we came last time, we came with her son.
Oh, Sister Miriam.
Miriam. Yes. Miriam. If you speak to Miriam, last week, she changed her will for the first time in her life. Yeah. So that's why I'm saying, you may need. So the trick really is to first see how this is aligned. You see, these two are flat like that, isn't it? So when you come to your wheel, so the top two should be that like that, not like that.
Okay.
So then you hold that side and lift and try and align. If you struggle, then I'll come in. But sorry, let me just move this out of the way. We need these because we are going to need these. If it's too heavy for you, let me do it.
Let me try it this way.
Yeah, okay.
That's better.
That's better. Just mind your fingers against it. This was the tricky bit even for her. Well, if you can't manage, I will come in.
Try.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right. Well, let me do it.
It's an angle.
Yeah,
Okay.
Right. So now this one, you only tighten it a third of how much the choke on these ones. Once you over tighten these, okay, let me show you how this is. Do you see this pattern? They only make maybe about 20. Hyundai for this type, they only make 20 of them. So normally what breaks is the pattern on the male one. Once that breaks and it doesn't lock, you can't take this off. And to take this off is like 40 pounds each to take it off at the tire place. So, and once this is broken, you have to take all 4 out.
Wow.
Or you park your car, order this with Hyundai, wait for 3 weeks. If you don't want to wait, they have to take all the 3 in case any of those tires will. So that's 160 pounds. So this thing, I make it a point. Yeah, that in fact, by the rules, it should not be over tightened. Right. So the next thing, what I do when you, especially the bigger vans, you just put your foot there and do it clockwise.
Okay. So this one has to go.
It doesn't matter where it goes.
Where
It doesn't matter where it goes. The other way, easier way. Let me show you an easier way. Just bring one of them. You just put it there. It's easier now too.
Okay.
Going. Because that will help you align. Yeah, that should be fine. Do the opposite. The rule on yeah, because it's an odd number. So you do one, you jump, you do the other, and then you jump. Right, that should be all right. Yes.
Why do you skip one? Is it just so that it's more
All
stable
right.
or
All right.
even?
That's a very good question.
Mhm.
The first one she put in.
Mhm.
If you if you put that in and tighten it,
Mhm.
the wheel will not sit flat on the hub.
Okay.
So if it doesn't sit flat when you then drive the car, the wheel will be dancing.
Wow.
And by dancing, the studs may either break or undo the nuts.
Wow.
So it's got to be flat on.
Mhm.
Yes. Right. When you've done that,
Is that enough of
yeah, that's enough. Yeah. Okay. So now, let me do one just to. Right. You notice as I was doing it, the wheel was going flat.
Yeah.
Then you go to same sequence. You jump one. Right. Who is operating that? With program. All right. Yeah, that's enough. Now, I may need probably that's always come on. Oh, it's program. First time I'm seeing that. No, we don't do this. Right? Now that one, you just do it, in stages. And I'll tell you to stop. Yeah. Again, that's enough. That's enough. That's it.
That's it.
So now I will just double check. So that job is done. First thing I do, I don't mess with this. Continuously.
It is. Say, for example, you don't have all of that stuff to undo the.
Now the car always comes with a jack, a wheel, and a wheel span.
Okay.
But then you will have to be standing on it to undo.
Okay. I know what you mean.
Yeah, I've seen
I've
those
I've
pictures,
seen
yeah.
them, I've seen them.
Yeah,
The
standing.
new cars don't come with a jack, don't come with a spanner, don't come with a spare wheel.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a tough idea
Mm.
to increase the amount of boot space.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they don't come with that. They just supply you with a pump and what do you put it? Yeah. It's not the best, but that's how they're doing it. So I mean, I had one like that. I had to go to scrapyard, buy a spare wheel, put it in there, keep one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after that, it's just dropping it.
Oh, we take that out first, don't we?
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Right now, this one is hard, so I will do it.
Okay.
It's very old. I need to service it or replace it. So the job is done.
Okay.
Mm.
So when you've done enough of these, yeah, you can do quite a few quickly. But you should not compromise on your checks.
Yes.
This is breaks. These are things that you cannot. There's zeros. What do they call it now?
Zero tolerance.
The tolerance.
Yeah. You can't make mistakes on things like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much did my sister have earned just now then?
Well, this was a simple one. I would charge like £40. So she would have earned £20. Now you can earn £20 in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Or in 10 minutes max.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying, do you know there are times my wife says you are like the Zimbabwean police. If he's short of money and is off duty, he just puts on his uniform, stands by the roadside, stops a car and say, your bulb is not working. Give me some money. Right? Honestly, I'm telling you, doing this kind of work, you will not stop.
Amen.
You will not stop. I actually run away from work. I switch off my phone. I have 2 phones now, one for work and one for my family. So I switch off my if I just put it on, someone is struggling somewhere. Yeah. So just by going, whether I fix or not, £20.
Yeah.
£30. Call out fee. And then when I do what I do, charge extra. So this is what Sister White tells us to use your hands.
Amen.
You will not go hungry. I'm telling you, you will not go hungry. Yeah. I mean, with this kind of knowledge, you can work on cars, vans, lorries, ships, anything with an engine except planes, because planes, they need specific training. But you can work on anything with an engine. Maybe, I don't know how much time we have. I could just show you one thing. You know, the engine I was showing you inside, this is one of the smallest engines, same engine as a car. This is like they call it a 2-stroke engine, just like a motorbike engine, right? Now, if you turn it around, there's no sump for oil. So how is it lubricated? How is the engine lubricated? Well, if there's no lubrication, it's like driving a car without oil. How is it lubricated? So with these 2-stroke ones, there is a special oil that you mix with the petrol. And when you put your petrol in, it's called 2-stroke oil. It burns, but it leaves some oil for lubrication, So if you just put straight petrol, you run this for 10 minutes and all you get is a bang. That's it, throw it away.
Oh no.
Yeah. So the principle is the same. There is your air filter, there is your spark plug. That's why I brought this. This is the starter motor, but a manual one. Now, if you remember the cars from the 60s, they didn't have starter motor. You would go with a crank at the front of the engine.
That's right.
So that's basically an easier version of cranking. But the best is that electric. You just turn your key. That's the starter motor. So that's the starter motor. That's your fuel tank. In fact, let me do that. This is your filler. Your fuel tank is just there. I think it takes about a liter of fuel. Now, I hope we are all working towards going into the country. I don't think I'll be here by the end of the year, but I'll be going up and down. One thing you may want to invest in is a moped. A small motorbike, even an automatic one. The thing is, we will need to be saving a lot. We can't spend, you run out of salt and town is 20 kilometers away. Are you going to drive the car or you just use a moped? I have a moped at my farm. To fill the tank, I think it's about 4 liters. And that will take me for 300 kilometers.
Yeah.
So for small things like that, you are just going to buy a loaf of bread. You use that. But if you need to buy bigger things and more people are going, then you use the car. So we have to look at ways of savings. That could be a lot of the savings. If you do it right, you're going to ministry. That's how we ought to, we ought to work. These are important points. So this is the that's your exhaust system, not the application you want. So this just drives this blade to cut stuff. When I go long distances, I always carry that. I always carry that. I have driven from a coastal town going to my country, and that's like 2,000 miles. And you get loads of accidents on the way and people trapped in cars. So I always go with this. But you have to be careful to use this because the sparks can cause a fire. So you want to cut areas to save life. So I always carry this when I go long distances. In fact, I've got 2 of these. One stays at home and one I always keep it in the car. So these are the things we need to be looking at, saving lives. How can I save life? Now, in the car, I always carry, these are the things I always carry, maybe because of my work. I always carry this with petrol or diesel. I always carry a 5 liter of oil and brake fluid. Your car may need it, or you find someone on the side of the road who needs. Yeah. So I always carry these things. I always carry a tow rope as well. See, not usually in a car. I've got a van, my work van. I always carry towing stuff. Right. Do you want to start this? You have to have a good back. Now you need to step over that because it started first time because it's serviced. You don't want to be doing that many times when someone is dying in the car. Yeah. So always, I like things that are serviced all the time. So it's easy to you do your job quickly, and you know, you spend less time, or you even save lives. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know how much time do we have. Or
yes, if there's something more you want to share with us.
I want to plug your car in.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you.
Just to see what issues your car may have.
I think it has a lot, unfortunately. I know it needs a service.
If you were closer to Manchester, I would have.
That's what I was saying to Auntie Alma.
Now, these modern cars, I think from 1998, or let's call it 2000. Before 2000, you had to have the knowledge to, if the car is misfiring, if it's doing this, then you know where to start looking. But because of the electronics in the car that they've put in, you still need that knowledge. But to make it easier, all that wiring goes to a diagnostic port, and it will tell you exactly where the problem is. Amen. So you just tackle the problem instead of checking wires and resistance and voltage, and so this does it for you. So yeah, it's a blessing to have. Now you can also buy this computer. In fact, I recommend that you buy the computer. It will be as small as this. You can do your own checks. It will tell you. So when you go to the mechanic and say, "Look, I have a problem. I think is the heater plug." You already know, because if you go without any knowledge, we can tell you 100 things. I have a bill to pay, tomorrow, and you've come at the right time. It's a cruel world. It's a cruel world. So
could you send a link down? Like, so if you were going to buy a course, say, so I'm imagining it's a brand like Safira course. I suppose it's the same. Is it a box or standard thing? Or
no, the plug. Let me tell you what a bit of history in 2 minutes. Every car they designed their own diagnostic, shape. So without the plug for Hyundai, you couldn't diagnose it. And even some manufacturers were making bolts that are different from all the other cars. They had the spanners. You know why?
So they can make more money.
Yes.
So while we were still in Europe, the matter was somebody took one of the car manufacturers to court and say, "Look, I want to do my own work, but the bolts they are putting there, the diagnostic port." So they were made universal after that court case. So now 99, in fact, all the new cars will have the same kind of plug. But then it depends on the software that's on this. Does it cover Hyundai? Because you have to buy software for the cars that you normally deal with. So I don't have Subaru on this. That's the only one I think I don't have, because I don't even have one customer with a Subaru. I would recommend. So let me just go. If you want to see.
Is it? I think it might be on the other side. I'm not sure.
On the other side.
I could be wrong, but I know there was a panel falling off the other day, and I was like, "Oh, that might sit there." Is it that side?
But I don't see it.
Oh dear.
Let me take my phone. Well, I have it right my wrist.
Should be underneath the steering wheel somewhere.
My dad said,
underneath the steering wheel.
Somewhere.
All right, let me just see. Okay, we may need to take just this panel off. Because Vauxhall normally it's normally like
in the
no, let me check it here. Yes. Found it. It's between the two front seats.
Okay.
Well done, Doctor.
Can I have the key?
Oh, yes, sure. Thank you.
When you are buying cars, do your research first on the type of car you. Well, by research I mean just go on Google. Common faults on a Hyundai.
Right.
It helps you because some of the things, some of the cars to brake pads. Now I bought those brake pads for like £9 for both. But some cars you are going into £80 for just brake pads. Yeah, you may have the money, but all I'm saying is do a bit of research about the car that you want to buy. So we want to go. So all makes of cars are there. The ones I have software for, right? So now Vauxhall is Opel. So Opel Vauxhall. So you go yes, and the key must be on. The engine not running. So you can put the details of the car manually, but I'm lazy. I go automatic. So it will read even the chassis number of this car. All the information, it will come there. Why is it taking long? There. Right? Even the chassis number. So the chassis number is even there. So if it's a stolen car, this is how you can pick it up. And it tells me your engine is a 1.4. The engine code is Z14XEP. So it's a twin pot. Right? We go, yes, it's the right car. So I'm going to scan everything electronic about your car. And then let's see what comes up.
Whole list of things. Literally.
These I knew they would come.
Yeah, I've only.
What I'll try and do is every code that's here, the ones I'm familiar with, I'll tell you the disadvantage of driving your car with this code on it. So it's done 662, checked 62%, 87%. So when it says 100%, we will look at the systems that is picked up on the car and the systems with faults. So we go to the faults. Right. You have 4 engine faults. So you just go to the engine. Everything else is clear. It's clean.
That's good.
But let's go to the engine. It will tell us what the faults are.
Yeah, that engine light has been showing for a while.
Right. Oxygen sensor. Bank 1, oxygen sensor, bank 2. Oxygen sensor, bank 2, high voltage. Right. Come I show you the sensor and what it does. And right in your car, this is the oxygen sensor. This one going into your
right.
That's the oxygen sensor. So what it does, remember last time we spoke about this sensor, that one, mass airflow sensor.
Yes.
It measures the amount of air that is gone in the engine.
Yes.
And that information goes to the computer. 3 or cubic centimeters of air has gone into the engine. So the computer decides how much fuel to go with the amount of air that is gone in.
Right.
Then it injects the right amount of fuel. Right. When that's done, the fumes come out of the engine.
Okay.
So this sensor now measures the amount of oxygen and that has not been used in the combustion process.
Okay.
If it's too much of it, it means the computer did not inject enough fuel in it. So when this sensor is unable to read,
and that's what it can't do right now.
That's what it can do.
Right, that's a problem.
So it cannot read whether the injection is okay or it's not okay. So there are times when it puts too much fuel than necessary or too little fuel than necessary, and both will lead to you using more fuel than necessary.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
So it's a very important that this one will cost you, I think, about £80.
Okay.
Round about that. The moment you put it, you start your car, all being well, it starts working. So it's like your eardrum is not sending information to the brain.
Wow.
So you can scream in that ear as long as it's not sensing. You can, so that's what's happening. The computer is saying, I'm not reading information from this sensor. What's happening? Well, I need the information to do my work properly. So that's what's happening. So there's two of them. There's this one here, which measures the gases straight coming out of the engine, and there's this one is a catalytic converter. It converts the bad gases to better gases. Then underneath there's another one, which is checking as the catalytic converter change the bad gases to better gases. So both of them are not reading well.
Oh dear.
Yeah, they are not reading well. Don't spend much money. If they quote you too much for that, I always keep second-hand ones.
Right.
Second-hand ones. Okay. I can post those to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Don't spend money. I'm particular about spending unnecessarily.
Yes.
I have this sitting, So that's basically what's happening.
Okay. Yeah.
So now right now you are using more fuel than you should.
Yes.
Yeah, where you should spend £10, you are spending maybe £12-13.
Yeah, I'm spending like £30 a week for petrol.
Yeah. So that's what's happening.
Oh, thank you very much. It's good to know.
So so maybe next time we will look at, I will bring an engine split, and then you can check exactly what happens with the engine.
That would be good.
And how we build these engines, so we can look at that.
That sounds great. Thank you so much.
I've got loads of engines. I could just look for a small one, and then I will tell you this is cylinder, and we will do the timing together. I would put the timing out, and you see what happens. Now, I did ask a question. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the rev counter. In one, what the rev, when the needle is on one, what the needle is saying is that engine is turning 1,000 times in 1 minute. So if you are on 4, it's turning 4,000. Now the brain cannot fathom 4,000 cycles in 1 minute. So imagine the timing belt snaps or a timing chain snaps. The amount, that's why you end up with the engine in pieces or a hole. The piston got, a hole you can put your head through because of timing is very, very important.
Wow. And that's what you said I need to change on the car.
Valve timing, yeah. Yeah, you need to change the timing chain. It's too rattly. So it's telling you, it's warning you, I could break anytime I could break. Chains tend to be more resilient than rubber belts.
Yes.
So you can push it a bit while you no, I didn't say that. For a bit while you get the money together, but don't take too long.
And how much is it roughly?
It's less than £100.
Okay.
80-something pounds.
That's good.
But it's on the labor.
That they'll
that's
charge.
Almost like a day's labor. So you're looking at about £150-200 labor. Sure. And you will, to change that, you need to have 5 liters of oil and an oil filter as well.
Yes.
And
To
that-
change the oil filter and the
to
oil.
change the chain, because all that comes off and the sump comes off.
Wow.
So you can't put back the old oil unless it's really clean. So
No, that's good because it needs an oil change
yeah,
and
so
an oil
don't
filter.
do the oil change now. Do
Okay.
the oil change at the time that you change.
Okay, that's good.
Yes.
Wonderful.
So yeah, there are jobs that are best doing, like your water pump. If you are going to keep the car for long, get your water pump changed at the same time, because if you do it when it fails, there's like £100 labor. So just do it all at once.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. I think for today we could stop here.
Yes. So we go inside and we'll pray.
While you go
I believe I've definitely learned a lot today, and have definitely been blessed. And so we're just going to take a moment now to have a donation for Elder and for all his time. As we do that, we're just going to sing Hymn Number 15, My Maker and My King, and so yeah, we'll be passing. We're just going to have a program. Just want to thank you again, all of those who have been online, and those who have come out as well. It's great. We're hoping again to have something similar in June. Let's pray. Lord, we thank you so much words and how you've created all of these things, but the different as we go on, that we so just like Tia mentioned, thank you all so much for coming in person and on Zoom. By God's grace, we will also have the recording afterwards. And if you like that, we can send it out. Send it to your friends, share it again. And again, as Tia mentioned, in June, we'll be looking towards the next program with Elder Bhebe, and we'll definitely let you know so you can join. We'll give you more details on that. Thank you for coming. Take care.